What is up, beautiful people? We have Shyam Patel with me today. Don't know him that well, but I really wanted to meet him. His content is really cool. Also part of Sub 2, right? That's what you were just saying?
Yeah, I mean, I partnered up with somebody in Sub 2. So not
Okay.
100%, but yeah. Um, yeah, I'm Shyam Patel. And yeah, I started off with wholesale and creative finance with your buddy as well. So I
Alex
actually
Femininity,
started,
he's a great guy.
yep, yep. And I actually started watching you as well. Alex started watching you first, and then he told me about you. And then we were taking it on from there. And your method worked great for Alex. So
I
that was
love
it
it.
was cool to watch,
I
take
love it.
fruit. Yeah.
So, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Real quick, go through with everyone what is kind of like just give a quick real estate resume of like what you do, what you've been doing, what you've done in real estate, all that good stuff. Just for my audience that doesn't know you.
Yeah, for sure. So I started off with just wholesaling. I was, going door to door before that. So I had some sales experience and I was not really afraid to actually go on as much just because I already went through those hurdles. But as far as real estate goes, started just cold calling, did my first deal in about like 7 months or so. And it was a little bit of a journey and a hike, but I finally got there. And once the proof of concept was built, I went on to continue wholesaling. I started networking a lot more, and then I started going into my own backyard, which is New Jersey. So I stopped virtual wholesaling. Well, I didn't really completely stop, but I pivoted, and I started doing a lot more deals in my own backyard. After that, I started raising capital, and also taking on buy and hold properties. So as that venture went on, I am still in the process of stabilizing all my units. I took on student housing rental, and now I'm on the verge of just continue scaling my wholesale operation to six-figure months. And once I get to that level, I'm just going to continue buying more and more real estate to not pay as much in capital gains and continue to scale.
I love it. I love it so much. So, real quick, I mean, this is Skorch the Fears, right? So, what we're going to mainly be talking about is how you get over fears, right? How you get over fears of starting out in real estate. What fears did you deal with specifically, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so I was really fearful of just getting into it, mainly because of lack of knowledge. So I'm like, sales oriented. I started selling all sorts of things as I was a teenager to the point where I was like 19. I started even in car sales. I was like maybe 20 years old. I started doing solar, and then I've done door to door for quite some time. And then I got finally into real estate. So by the time I got into real estate, I wasn't really scared of sales as much, but I was scared of going into a brand new niche. Like every time I went into a brand new industry, it was always that little fear because of not knowing enough. So I started just doing my due diligence like crazy, and I would stay up to like 2, 3 in the morning, just learning as much as I can because it built confidence in me. The more I knew, the more I didn't just get stuck in a place. And I knew the more I fail, the quicker I'm going to learn. So I tried to just fail as much as I could, as quickly as I could. And I would just, record all my failures. So then once I go ahead and track all my failures, I'll go through them each night and see where I messed up, how I can not mess up again. And this way it started building confidence in me. And when, you start building confidence, you start doing a lot better as well. And I definitely think confidence is built through repetition and practice. So that's exactly what I did.
I love it. I love it so much. It makes sense, right? But like, how did you bridge that gap, right? How did you bridge the gap of the confidence, right? Of not knowing what you were doing, right? Did you join a mentorship? Did you partner up with anyone? Like, what did you do? How did you make it where you're like, hey, I now know what I'm doing enough to take action? And how do you not get caught up in analysis paralysis?
Yeah. So I love how you say analysis paralysis because I was definitely into that for quite some time. But I'm one of those people that just love to, I need instant gratification. I don't know. I'm really patient, but at the same time, I'm not because the minute I know something or, have just enough knowledge, I just want to do it. So the minute I found out that a close buddy of mine that did door to door with me actually just left in about 2 weeks of him doing it. And he actually had a wholesale deal go through, and that's what made him afford the ability to go ahead and just quit and stop doing all that. So I started to reach out to him and ask him about what he did, how he did what he did, and how he learned what he did. And so he started to go ahead and share some of his knowledge with me. He started sharing a few different, courses with me. I started also purchasing courses as well myself, and then I went on to partner with somebody. So I partnered with a good friend of mine, and that's how I met Alex as well. And I was recommended that person through the first buddy of mine. And so it was all just networking. And from there, I already realized that your network is very, very, very crucial into this industry, just like any other industry, to be honest. And so I started to learn as much as I could possibly from people that are already doing business in the game live. And so, what better way to do that than to partner with somebody, give them your time when you have so much access of it? And so, I did exactly that and soaked up and just provided as much value as I humanly could.
I love it. I love it so much. So then you said provide as much value as you can to the other person as you humanly could, which is awesome. What does a newbie have to add value to Shyam or to Jonah? That's a question I get a lot, and it's
Mhm.
an interesting one. What did you do, and what would you recommend someone else do in order to get the attention of people who are successfully wholesaling tens of thousands every month to sometimes hundreds of thousands every month?
Yeah, so that's a great question because I was also thinking that I was stuck thinking that for a while. So I asked that first buddy of mine for the partnership himself. So as I started asking other people for partnership, I started to actually learn what they might need and what they didn't need as I got rejected. So some people just didn't want to do something together because they didn't trust. Some people weren't in the right stage. Some people needed some more time. Some people needed more money. Some people didn't have the systems in place to take on a partner. And some people just didn't really need me. And so as I found somebody that needed me or was looking to scale, I, instead of just asking what he needed, I simply just started being in the community, like, my buddy recommended me him, and it was just an introduction. And so when I started actually being on his team, I saw like where he needed me, and he was just super blunt and honest with me about what he needed out of me too. So as we went along, he basically showed me the real world process of things, and I've learned a lot of just textbook knowledge, but I never really had too much just action, right? So that's where I learned to fail over there because I didn't have much money to spend on ad spend at all whatsoever. I was really little to no money in the bank as far as um like capital and reserves go to deploy on my marketing campaigns. And nor did I even know how to run any marketing campaigns. So when I found somebody that can just take all that off my hands and just let me be a salesperson, I was like, this is amazing. Now I could just sit here, listen to him and watch him close deals and just continue to get better and better. Right. So it was no better place for me to start. And if I honestly had to start all over again, I would just do the same thing. I would network with a bunch of other wholesalers like yourself and me and others. There's tons and tons of us out there. I'd network with them like crazy and just be around them till I know what my needs are. Well, what our needs are and how I can provide value because most people just usually ask, um, but you don't really get too many great answers out of that because we get asked that all the time. Um, so instead of doing that, if I just already do my due diligence of finding out what a wholesaler might need to scale, and then present myself to you, right, Jonah, and be like, "Hey, Jonah, what if I provide you 10 new leads every week for you to help me close, and then I give you 50% of it. Like if there's something like that, it's kind of hard to say no because you're literally going out there doing what you got to do to provide leads, and then on top of that, you're offering a JV right off the bat, and offering to learn. And the biggest thing about that is that it shows someone that you're truly hungry. If you're willing to go get at least 10 motivated seller leads out there on your own, and that just shows me a ton of effort. Or even if you're not getting all that all the way there, but you're making some effort to literally go out there, go door to door, or drive for dollars, or just anything. I see that you're hungry and you're willing to learn. So I know if I put my time into you, it's not just going to go down the drain.
I love it. And I mean, I think that's the issue, right? The issue is like you and me, we don't have time to be helping people who aren't going to actually use the help, right? I've spent
Mhm.
hours helping people where I never heard from them ever again. And they just never
Yeah.
end up doing real estate. And it's just like, bro, what the hell was that? Like, I don't have time for this stuff. I don't care if you
Literally,
buy me a coffee. Like, shut up. Like, I want
I
to do
get that
deals
so
with
many
you.
times.
Like,
It's like, "Can I buy you
what
a
are we
cup of coffee?"
doing? It's
Jonah,
like, get
can't
me a
can't you
deal.
afford Yeah, right? Can't you afford your own cup of coffee?
I can afford my own goddamn cup of coffee. I don't care what I need. Like, the point that I want people to understand, which you're really getting at, Shyam, is like add value. I will make 10 times more money if you actually do certain things that will lead you to a deal, right?
Mhm,
The issue is that you got people don't do that. What they do is they just make it where like um they just want it. They just want your time for coffee. It's like, dude, my hour is worth more than $7 or $5, however much that coffee is, right? Even lunch. It's like, bro, I've got like
that's so
shit to
true.
do, you know? So I definitely the adding of the value and seeing that there. Let's talk about your journey a little bit. So you start training under someone. Um,
Mhm.
do you get your first deal with them, or what happens in your story next?
Yeah, so as I actually joined them, and we're all just noobs other than this one person. And so he was just revamping his whole business all over again. So we got to learn everything. And we got to learn how to create systems. We got to learn how he created a process. We got to learn everything. And so I'm super appreciative of that. Like I'm just tremendously grateful for that. And honestly, I think it was luck. So as I went along, I was working like crazy. Anytime I wasn't working with him, I
Hold on,
was
real quick. Do
eith-
you really feel like it was luck?
a little bit of it. Yeah, I mean, I was
Yeah, I
putting
mean,
myself out
there's
there.
always luck as a factor, but like there is, I think you're underestimating, at least right now, how much of that is like you actually wanting it and showing that you want it, you know?
Hmm,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm just gonna throw it
definitely.
out there. I think it's a lot more than luck. But anyways, keep going.
I mean, look, the more times you hit the slot machine, your odds just increase, right? So maybe there's luck, but if you're just
That's a bad
playing the
metaphor. The
game,
slot machine, I don't think your odds increase with the slot machine. That was a bad metaphor, but I get what you mean. The more
yeah,
times you do something, the more likely eventually you do well. But like the slot machine, anyways, a
I get
bad example.
it. So yeah, as I just like kept going, I was just calling, and I was getting to the point where I was just like slamming my head against the phone because it was just not working. And so I would just call for like hours and hours and hours all day long. And then afterwards, I would probably go hit the gym a little bit to get my mind off of things and then come home to just watch sub two. I would watch you. I would watch just like all sorts of people on YouTube, sub two, like all sorts of different courses. And I would just try to get better. That's it. And then I would try to learn as much more like information as I possibly can and stuff it into my brain. And I had this big 5-star book that I would just fill with notes. And whether it helped me with just sales or not, I just wanted to learn more about real estate. I was just like addicted at that point. And so I'd probably sleep like 4 or 5 hours a day and then just continue
Oh my
working.
god, I
Yeah.
love that.
And So maybe like month
Okay, so
6.
real quick, because now I'm curious, since
Yeah.
everybody's favorite subject is themselves. What did you do? Because do you do direct agent, or were you kind of just exploring it when you were watching my stuff?
Yeah. So I was trying it. I haven't done a deal, so I'm like, I got to do something. Sellers, direct to seller is not working for me. So let's try, direct to agent. Like, so we try that, and then I'm just at a point where I'm like, okay, both of them is not working for me. So I'm just gonna do both. Like, I'm not gonna focus on one. I'll just do everything.
What
And
happened in the end?
seller, direct to seller is what I
Is that
got.
just where you got your first deal?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
that's what I've stuck to ever
I
since.
really wish you had just gotten one deal with direct agent. It makes me feel like kind of an a-hole over here. It's like, well, it was what I'm teaching actually any good then if you didn't get a deal with it? But yeah, no, it's all
I
good.
don't know. It's what it was is that I wasn't really focusing on it too much. I was doing
You
direct to
like the
seller.
seller more.
Yeah, yeah. I was doing direct to seller for maybe 4 months straight before I even started to like even give agent a try. And the thing
Right.
with our buddy Alex, is that he was just doing direct to agent from the get go. Like he did not switch over at all. Like he was just truly in belief of just direct. I mean, the agent outreach. And I was the opposite. I wanted just seller, seller, seller. And the thing is that agent outreach is just a lot more scalable because now you're using leverage against other agents that are working for you now. Um, Compared to seller, unless it's a tired landlord that has a big portfolio that he's looking to liquidate all, you're really only just focusing on that one deal with that one client. So yeah, I just kept calling, and after I just tried both, I was just getting frustrated. I was running out of money, and so I was really thinking about just stopping everything and just going getting like a job or something. And I was like, there's no way I came this far and just to quit. And like when I first started everything, I wrote it on my wall. I still have it here right now. It says, I'll do it or I'll die. So that's the only little piece of paper that made me successful and that made me who I am today. So I just kept going, and when I ran out of all money completely, I just started doing Uber. So I would work completely like full day, and I'd Uber at night. Like I would start at like 10 to 11 p.m. and I would stop at 2 to 3 a.m. and I'd work and sleep 4 hours and then wake up and just start going to work again. And then literally like 3, 4 weeks later, I got my first deal. And I got it by
Oh yeah.
accident too.
Well, that's sick. I mean, that's like an awesome story, right? It's a reminder that like I think it's impossible not to do a deal after a certain point. Eventually, you have to do a deal. There's a certain point where
Mhm,
it just lands in your lap because you've been doing enough work where it happens. There are too many houses, too many situations. Eventually, you have to get a deal unless you're just not doing the work, right? And then
mhm,
also the mix of the do it or die attitude, right? I mean, that helps a lot too. Certain people can deal with that, certain people can't. I was very similar to you like that. I don't know. I don't remember if I talked about my story that much in the Zooms, but like I definitely was. I basically put $10,000 on a credit card, and then learned Astro, and then got a deal, and then spent another $10,000 on Sub Two. That's what my story. I was like, screw it, we're gonna learn everything, right? I'm gonna
yeah.
join everything, and we're gonna figure it the hell out, right? I just paid 15 grand for this one, right? Because I want to
I
start
love
buying
it.
apartment complexes, and I want to get better at capital raising. I'm okay at it.
Mm,
There are key parts that I need to get better at. I need to learn how to keep relationships I have made, make them want to
mm,
keep investing, because sometimes it takes a while until I find another deal.
mhm.
So I've noticed that I will get somebody interested, and then they don't. Anyways, they don't come through.
What is
But
that? What did you join?
Multify, you ever heard of it?
Oh, okay. No.
So you know
I'm a
Lena
part of.
Jetty?
Okay, yeah.
It's her mentorship. It's her new mentorship.
Understood. Gotcha.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I joined Cody and Christian Osgood's multifamily strategy, and then
Nice.
I got like through the whole capital raising and everything through that, and so that's what
How
made me
how was
wanted
it?
to
Was it
start
good?
investing. Yeah, it was really absolutely fantastic. It was
I
basically the
love it.
seller finance, but it was all through building relationships.
I love it.
So it was
Awesome.
awesome. But as far as
So
I want to ask you a question really quick. I know you were saying
switch it up on me. Start interviewing me. What's up?
The capital raising. Where did you get like mixed up? Where are you struggling right now with capital raising?
I just don't do enough of it. And also, honestly, I don't have the deal flow to keep people interested.
Hmm.
I am starting to get the deal flow, but honestly, I have my own mindset issues to deal with it, right?
Mm.
I have issues with debt a lot of times, right? Debt doesn't feel good to me. I don't like it. And that's
Mm.
just upbringing and raising. That's part of it. And part of it too is I really don't like the idea of losing anybody's money ever.
Yeah,
So it's very scary to me. I'm really not into that, right? Um, and that eventually will happen. It has to,
definitely.
right?
Yeah,
It's a
it's
scary thought, and it has to happen at some point where I lose somebody's money if I'm real estate investing. I feel like it's very hard to make it where you never lose anybody's money over, the 40 years I'm going to be doing real estate investing, right?
you're
Uh,
right. There's too many things that can go wrong. So it's
it's
life,
why
and
I joined this community is because it's very focused on capital raising, or that's a huge part of it,
mhm.
right? Pay Sub 2 has some stuff on capital raising, and definitely people do it, but I just want to get better at it and focus more in on it. I want to make sure I always have the private money I need for any deal, right? Um, I'm starting to connect a lot more with conventional lenders, so I've gotten pre-approved from a bunch of conventional lenders for certain deals where I'm like, God damn, that's really cheap. And also part of it was I used to do it in California. I didn't want to own real estate in California. Now I'm doing it a lot more in Colorado, and I
Yeah.
want to own real estate here. Like there's this 9 unit I really want to buy. I think it's a great deal. We're just dealing with little bits of nonsense, but
Mm.
I want to see if I can sub to the mortgage. I have no idea if you can sub to a commercial loan. I don't know if
Not
that's the same
sure.
as a residential. I need to like find out. I need to ask Vina and probably ask Pace. I need to ask
Mm.
Pace. That's the
Pace.
mentor
Yeah.
I have. That's like would answer it. I gotta text him and see if he responds.
Yeah, no, that
Um,
would be actually crazy because think of it this way, it balloons so much quicker, you know.
yeah, it depends on what type of loan they got, right? This is such a cheap commercial.
Mm.
They It's in the range of, I'm curious what type of loan they got. We'll see. Um,
So,
I don't know if it's a 5 or 7 year one that's like variable rate. I know that's like typical for commercial, but
mm,
we'll see. I'm trying to figure out
see,
what type of loan this guy got.
okay. You might want to look at the loan docs as well because we're in the process of refining one of our like student rental projects right now. And while we were getting approved for the new loan on it, I actually went and I started reading like the entire loan docs. And
Mhm.
one of the checks that they already checked for me is that I cannot go ahead and, you know, do a sub two on a loan.
Hmm.
So it says that I'm not going to transfer the debt to anyone else, or that debt is going to stay my responsibility.
Interesting.
So, and they pre-checked it for me. I couldn't like check my own box.
Right.
So
That's
it
annoying.
was weird. Hmm. So yeah, you
Yeah.
might
I mean,
want to check
residential
as.
loans, they might put on all that stuff, but they'll never know. I'm very
Mm,
confident sub twos with residential loans. They'll never figure it out. The issue with commercial that I've heard is that the bank is more involved in the entire deal, right?
mm.
Anyways, I'll figure it out. If I can sub to this loan
Let me
though,
know,
I'd be
please.
so goddamn happy. This thing would be at like a three, dude. This thing would cash flow so much. I feel like. Anyways, we'll see.
Well,
But
I've been told about sub two on commercial, like a apartment building, and so I'm pretty sure you can do it.
yeah, I'm
Otherwise,
just
like
gotta
this owner
figure it
wouldn't
out.
have been. Yeah, let me know if you get
I'll
to it
figure
like
it out.
100%. Yeah.
Anyways, back to you since that's the whole interview, right? So let's talk about your first deal. Tell me that story.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a complete accident, which is the crazy part because I was so frustrated. I was done. I done work like 8 to 10 hours the whole day, and I'm just sitting in this exact chair with my feet up, just like this. I'm just like, no way. I'm just like done. Got like no traction whatsoever the entire day. It was raining outside, and I get one person on the phone, and I was straight just cold calling. And so I get this one lady on the phone. She told me that she already has her deal under contract. So I'm like, great. It was an expired listing. And so she was just such a nice old sweet lady that I just stayed on the phone with her. And I was like, look, I'm already done for the day regardless. I got nobody else to call, and even if I do, it's past my time frame to call, so I legally can't even be calling right now. But this lady is just staying on the phone, so it doesn't even matter. So I'm just out here, just like just wasting time with this lady because I got nothing else to do at that point. And I'm just like, all right, someone sweet that's actually talking to me and doesn't want to like hang up or curse at me right now. So I'm like, sweet. So I talked to her and I built a great relationship with this lady, like super, super great relationship. And I told her that most likely this person that's under contract is a wholesaler. So I'm just like, smack talking about this guy being a wholesaler
Nice.
while I'm a wholesaler. And I told her exactly what we do. So I told her that like we flip properties and we flip contracts, and this is how I know he's a wholesaler. And I told her that this is the second so her property it went expired, and then it fell out of contract like twice before this. So I was like telling her that I don't know if you know this or not, but if this guy can't perform, he's probably going to fall out of contract too, just like your other contracts. And so we spoke more, and she told me that he didn't even have earnest money down. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty crazy because I don't think he's too serious, and I think he just locked up any sort of deal. Because if I had this deal, I know I'm confident enough to even put some money down at least. And so I disregarded that all because I didn't want to make her just feel bad. And it was already out of my hands, anyways. So I just spoke to her for maybe 20, 30 minutes. And then I let her go. And we spoke about like my country. And that's like how far we got. So that lead went. And maybe like 2 weeks later, I get a phone call on the CRM from the same lady. And no, on my phone, actually. I gave her my phone number. She gave me a call back and she told me that the property fell out of contract. And I was the first person to know because she loved me. And so, as she told me, I was just super grateful for her to reach out to me first. And I told her that, hey, look, we do this deal. I'm gonna buy you sweets from India. Like I'm gonna ship some Indian sweets to you. And so like I literally stuck
I
up to
love
my
that.
word. And after we did the deal, I did that. And I got that property under contract for a lot less than the other people had it under contract. And the only contingency was that she was so fed up with this entire thing that she's like, unless you can close in 7 days, I don't want to do it. So we only had 7 days to close this deal,
Wow.
and so we did it. We hired a dispo manager that my friend knew, the one that I worked with, I was talking about, and so we gave the dispo manager, I believe, like 40%, 40 or 50% of the deal. But I did not care. I was like, I just never done a deal. I was just excited through the whole thing. And then my friend put me under the fire. Every time something went wrong, he just would be like, just figure it out. And, like, every time, like, I would be panicking. I was, like, walking, pacing back and forth.
That's
This lady's out
hilarious.
here.
He didn't like try to
Mhm,
calm you down. Has he done deals
mm-mm.
before? What
Yeah,
an
he's done
a-hole.
tons.
Like, why didn't he just be like, yo, chill out, don't worry. Like, I definitely, the people who are my mentees bringing me deals, I'm like, not, I will be like, yo, bro, don't worry about it, or just do this. That's so funny. He's
No,
like, nah,
because
you got figure it out, bro. Good
No,
luck.
because
What the
I
hell?
loved it because it's like tough love, and I do well under stress, so it's cool. He was just trying to actually teach me more and more, and then every time I would get like frustrated and I'm about to lose a deal, he'd come in, save me, and then just disappear again. And he kept doing that, and that's like the most amount of just information I've learned ever doing any deal ever, because he just straight let me figure out all these things out myself. And it was like it was a blessing. And she threatened to like sue me, like it was all kinds of craziness. She
Wait,
was
why
telling
did
asking
she
me like,
threaten to sue you?
because we
Because you
were
were
not
late or
about to
something?
close. No, we weren't about to close the property in 7 days because we couldn't get
Hard to
access to
do.
the hedge fund wanted to go to the property and see it, and we couldn't even get access to the property. And I'm more here in New Jersey. The deal's in Texas,
Oh my gosh.
and the hedge fund wanted the property like vacant, and there was furniture in there. And so I had to figure all this stuff out. I had to locate a guy to come out there and pay him out of my pocket to get rid of all this furniture, dispose of it like last minute, and I had to find someone that's trustworthy all the way from here in New Jersey. Yeah, it was just such a headache, but it was so rewarding, even though it was the smallest deal on earth. Um, but it was great. It was great. It was
How
just
much
the
did you make?
2,000. I get two
Two
thousand
thousand.
dollars from that deal,
I love it.
and it was just it wasn't even like the monetary value. It was just that I did a deal, you
Love
know?
it.
Yeah. And my buddy, we were supposed to go 50-50, but we went 60-40. He gave me 60. Just because he was like, this is so small, like I do not care. Um
And but you were like, I really care. Give me any money. I know that feeling, dude. I know at the beginning where you're like, bro, give me any money and I'll take it.
Yeah,
Give me
literally.
anything.
Yeah.
I love that. Talk about that
So
moment when you get that check. I feel like that's a very special moment for
I
any
didn't
real
even get
estate
a check.
investor.
It was a wire. If I had that check, it would be on my wall to this day right now collecting
Mine
dust.
is my first deal check I kept. I was like, I'm getting a check and I'm keeping this because this is going to be so cool
I
eventually.
kept my first New Jersey deal check, which is on here. Everything else has been wires. But I love that. I absolutely love that. I
So
took a screenshot of the wire.
nice. I love that. That's, same thing, same difference.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So crazy first deal story. Awesome. Love everything that happened. Um, so tell me, what happened from there? You just were like, awesome, we're going all sellers now. We're gonna go crazy, or what was the rest of the journey?
Yeah. So now I just saw that this worked. Meanwhile, I got Alex out here jumping up and down, closing sub two deals back to back from this one agent that he like made a great relationship with. So I'm like, whoa, like that's awesome. But I just had no success with agents. But I still just kept going. I still tried, and I still have some really great relationships built with agents till this day from doing all that. So I don't regret it at all, and I still do that till this day. Like I still do agent outreach, and I have done deals with agent outreach now, but I just stick to seller, direct to seller because that's what I was good at. So I noticed that I was hopping from one thing to like the other. I was trying to do everything, and you really just have to stay focused on one technique and just get really good at it, and you'll do a deal instead of just being like sidetracked because there's so many different things out there. So I just stuck to direct to seller, and then when I got in my own market, I started actually door knocking. So because I've done a lot of door to door sales, so it doesn't scare me, and I know it's like the fastest lead method in my opinion, at least, because you're basically face to face in front of these sellers, and it's a lot harder for them to just like slam the door. It's a lot more rude for them to just curse or something like that. It's happened. I've been gotten the cops called on me. I've gotten guns pulled out on me, like all kinds of crazy stuff. But it's the best way to get a deal, hands down, in my opinion, the fastest way, I think. And I started doing pre foreclosures door to door, and at that point, I was thinking to myself, all right, well, let's say um, this subject property is in the middle of the block. I wouldn't start at that property. I would start in the front of the block, the first property, and I'll go zigzag and I'll go down the entire block until I hit that property. So while I was doing that, I was able to basically know the entire neighborhood by the time I got there. I would also know the subject owner's like name, whether if they had a kid or not, whether they are going to school, or because I would start talking to all the neighbors. And so I just build rapport like that, and I'm accepted in the community that way. And when I started doing that, I just started doing whole neighborhoods at a time. I wouldn't just like specifically just hit one foreclosure or something. I'd just go door knock a whole neighborhood, and then I would just be really good friends with just random people in the whole neighborhood. And then so one lady actually told me, "Hey, such and such just passed away, and their property might be a really good lead." And things like that always happen. Like word gets around that you're the guy that buys houses, and flips them or whatever have you, and you get leads coming your way. And I was doing sticky notes. I don't have a pack on me right now, but I would stamp sticky notes with a stamper that was custom made with my handwriting.
I
It's
love it.
pre-stamped like 1,000 sticky notes,
Genius,
and just
actually.
keep it. Yeah, keep it in my car. I still do it to this day. Anytime I'm passing any of my favorite neighborhoods, I just go at it. And so they would just self-generate leads, and I had to pay like $12 at Walmart for sticky notes. And I would just go light up the whole neighborhood. If they didn't answer the phone, sticky note, on to the next. If it's a really hot lead, and I know that it's a really hot lead, sticky note goes on the door, the garage door,
So how well did
their
that
car
work?
door, really well.
Yeah, I
Very,
bet.
very, very well. There were a lot of like pissed off people, but it was fantastic, and it
I
still
love it.
works to this day. And when
So
I
talk to
drive around,
people about what is your business now? Like what is your business now? What are your goals? What's your business look like at this very moment? And then yeah, what are your goals with the wholesaling, with any of the other stuff? Like talk to us about where you're at right now and what your goals are at this moment.
yeah. So as of right now, we're at 11 doors. And so my goals are basically to stabilize the entire portfolio and then raise more capital and take on more doors. But my main focus is the wholesale operation. And that's what brings in money right now today. All the doors is just for my wealth. I really don't look at the cash flow, and nor do I ever spend the cash flow. So that cash flow is like meaningless to me when I'm buying 80 to 100-year-old properties, and I'm
Yeah, bro.
the cash flow is not there.
People cash flow isn't real on single
Yeah,
families. It's
no,
just like all the cash flow goes into just keeping the property alive, right?
yes, I
You make your
agree.
money once you sell the property in like 20 or 30 years, right? So that's all
Yeah,
I've been
so
having. I've been arguing with buying orders. I'm like, there's no shot you guys are living off this unless you bought 100 and sold half of them and then made it where you didn't have
well,
any debt on these things. I don't know.
the thing is that they also work like 9 to 5 jobs, and they have other incomes, and they
Oh
just
yeah,
pretend like they have cash flow. You
yeah.
know,
Cash flow is not real, guys. I don't know if you guys know this. Cash flow is a lie unless you own like 100 units or more.
that's
Otherwise,
so
it's a
true.
freaking lie because then you can scale up and you have economies of scale, so everything becomes cheaper once you have 100 units. But until that point, you are all liars. That's all I'm gonna say.
Even Brandon Turner just made like an Instagram video, like a reel about that. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but
I didn't.
someone as big as that with like thousands of doors says that, oh, I make no money in cash flow, even though I have thousands of doors. He's like, yeah, it's probably a few grand a month, but that's nothing when you have thousands of doors. So he said it's just a wealth builder, which it really is. So yeah, it's anything but the truth. It's you're gonna think that it's cash flow until you actually do it and you see all the expenses that come along,
And you're like,
and
bro,
then
that
that
just ate
you
up 2 or 3 years of cash flow when the fucking HVAC needs to be replaced. It's like, well,
exactly.
there it all goes, right?
Yep. And even if you like dedicate, let's say
So
20, I was gonna say, like, even if you like put aside like 20-25% before you take any kind of like, profit, still, like, that's not enough. Let's say if you're just like year one in and then something breaks, you're gonna have to ditch out like, money out of your own pocket, period. You didn't just get any kind of reserves in that 1 year from doing that.
100%. So, own more doors, single
hmm
families, multi-families.
So I started off with singles, but I'm like absolutely just done. I want multifamily. It's such
You're
a
so
headache.
like me. You're in the same place I am with that. Unless it's a sub two deal or seller financing, and it freaking like it has to cash flow like 300 or $500 a month. I'm
hmm
starting to look into pad split. We'll see how that goes. I might try one pad split, see if it works well to
Yeah,
increase the cash flow. If that doesn't work, then I'm completely done. Also,
I wanted to try pad split too. It seemed very very interesting, and I know Pace does
it
it a
is
lot.
interesting. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
interesting.
I didn't know if it would work in my market or not, but one way to find out.
It will.
Okay.
So, own more doors, multifamily.
hmm
What other goals?
and scale my wholesale operation. That's the biggest goal. Main set of focus right now is on
Where
the
is it at
wholesale.
right now, and where does it need to? Where do you want it to be?
So funny thing you asked. So I was doing 3 to 5 deals. I just went to Texas, and the entire operation went to a halt as I was relying mainly just on referrals and cold calling, and I got audited for my cold calling, and the entire
What do you
thing got
mean you
shut
got
down.
audited?
So the phone numbers were audited because the conversion rates sucked because I was doing mass marketing and I wasn't pulling niche
Who audited
lists.
it? Like the phone carriers?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, gotcha,
So Twilio, I was using Twilio for the phone
gotcha.
numbers. They audited it, and so they shut the entire thing down. And my option was to either like do it all over again and then have that same issue, or just like figure out a better option. So I spend a lot more money on text messages right now because I have a buddy that's successful with that. So I allocated everything towards him for text message. And we're going to go ahead and try PPC. And then also
Nice,
with cold calling, I'm going to hire people to go ahead and manage all the callers and
nice.
be responsible for all the numbers and
What
KPIs.
PPC is the end goal for direct to seller, to be
Hmm.
honest. That's
Yeah.
where all roads lead to PPC. That's Brent Daniels quote.
Yeah.
So what's your team look like right now? Like is it just VAs?
Yeah, it was just VAs, and then I had my buddy and myself. That we were
Nice.
just me and him as far as closing deals
Love it.
go, and those VAs, yeah. So
Love
it
it.
was the 3 to 5 deals, and mainly those deals were coming more so off of referrals than even the cold calling. So the cold calling was here and there, but my referrals, like as everyone just got to know my name out in my area, I just got a lot of referrals. And then, previous sellers would recommend me to another person that's distressed. And then I would go ahead and close them out. And it would just continue to happen over and over again. And the
Love it.
sticky notes as well. The sticky notes would work like crazy. And I had door knockers too. So as I saw that that really worked, I started actually looking at mailmen and door to door people. And
Interesting.
I got so many deals off of door to door people that it's actually pretty interesting.
Hmm.
They would go door to door, and at the end, they would just ask, "Hey, would you consider selling your property?" Or if it's mainly a tenant, they would say, does your landlord have a problem with fixing a lot of the things in your home or in your rental? And I would just get them to ask either of these two things, and it would just start up a nice conversation, or it would just lead to nothing. And if it did start a decent conversation, I would tell them to just write them all down in a text message, shoot me the address and the phone number, and anything that comes from you guys, you get a such and so percentage of this deal. And you don't have to quit your job. You stay doing your door to door gig. You just add this extra line to your pitch after you've finished your pitch. That's it. And so, yeah, a lot of the deals came from that and the sticky notes. I would give these people packs of sticky notes as well. And I actually just, such a coincidence, as I was coming back to the office, there was a door to door girl while I was driving back home. She waved at me. And so I turned around and I went back to her and I did the same thing again. Now I have another girl. I have an appointment with her soon, and she's gonna, tell her all her friends about this, and she wants to get into real estate.
Love
And
it.
so it's great. And all these people, these door to door salesmen, they're entrepreneurs. They want to get into real estate. So for them to be able to learn and help and get more money, they love it.
I love it. I love it a
Yeah.
lot. So what else? Wholesaling, owning more doors, anything else? Is that basically the two goals?
Those are the two basic goals as of right now. Yeah. And then
How about social
I
media? You got a lot of social media followers. What's your goals with that?
I I do. So I had a goal of monetizing that, but it's like getting too much. But I still want to stay consistent and continue to grow it because it's getting attention. So that's just been fruiting off lately because I was just super consistent. Just when I went to Texas is when I started taking a little break, just recently. So just this month I've been like taking a little like letting ease off the gas a little bit. But I'm back and I'm hungry, and yeah, we're
Nice.
just gonna continue posting every day. And a few of my posts went like absolutely like just super viral. One's at like 7+ million views, another one's at like
Damn,
3
nice.
point something. And all my followers just like over the past like 5 months, they just went crazy. Before that, it was just like nothing would work, you know. And I just kept
I
doing it,
love
just
it.
like wholesale. Um,
Love it. I
yeah,
love
and
it
then
so
same
much.
thing happened on YouTube. TikTok is the only one that's still lagging, so yeah, that's gonna happen soon too, hopefully.
We'll promote your socials on this, right? And you and I can talk too afterwards. I have a social media manager. I don't know if you need that or not at all. Like, who's
Hmm.
editing your videos?
Me,
Yeah. I feel like you
yeah,
shouldn't be editing your videos. We'll talk.
right, yeah.
But we'll talk after the podcast. So we're starting to get to the end of this, right? We're at 6:52. If you Let's actually ask this first. Give us some of your like most impactful books, not to you, but to like your real estate journey or
Hmm.
entrepreneurship journey.
I would say I'm gonna go grab it real quick. Hold on.
All
You're gonna
right.
like this. So it is this one right here. You can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar.
It's a classic one. That's Pace's favorite book.
Yeah, I got it from Pace, and that one's great because it teaches so much about just self development too, as far
Mm-hmm.
as sales. And yeah, there's too many things inside this book that has helped me. And then if I was to say the next one, which has helped me a lot, is The Go Giver, and that's also from Pace.
Love it.
So yeah, The Go Giver also like changed my perspective because
I love
I
The Go
was
Giver. That's a great book.
yeah, I was also like always very secretive, and I felt like I shouldn't tell the world. And it helped me change my perspective, and that's why I did social media and told everybody like everything that's working for me. Started believing in abundance because of it, and it changed everything for me.
I love it. Cool.
Yeah, yeah,
I have one last question for you before I
sure.
start ending this. What do you, if you could go back to Shyam right when he was just starting out in real estate, what would you tell him then, knowing everything that you know now?
Stay focused on one thing and don't give
So
up.
true. So true. Talk about that for a little bit, but I so agree.
Yeah, because I was all over the place. And if I just stay focused on one thing from the get go, I would have been where I am today that much quicker. Like so much quicker. I would have like, leaped years quicker because I wanted to always do real estate, but I always thought I needed money to do real estate. So I did anything but real estate to just get money. And I wish I just like focused on what I truly was looking after was real estate. So I should have just focused on real estate instead of like focusing on all different sorts of things to do to get money so I can buy real estate. I should have just like, tried to figure out how I can do real estate to make money from the get go and just stayed to that and then stayed to one strategy and just stayed focused, laser focused. I would have been like years ahead of where I am today. But I really think that everything happens for a reason, and that it really made me who I am today. And if I didn't go through all those trials and tribulations, then I wouldn't be who I am, and I wouldn't be as resilient. So I think everything played out pretty well.
I love it. I love it so much. Cool, my man.
Yeah.
Well, what are your socials? Where can people
Yeah.
find you?
So it's right down here at Shyam.invests
That's
all
your
over.
Instagram. Is that
Yeah,
also
that's
your
everything.
YouTube? Okay, cool.
It's also my YouTube, TikTok. That's like the three main things that I have is like, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok.
Awesome. Cool, my
Yeah.
man. Stay after. Do you have any last things you want to say to the audience before I start wrapping this up?
So as far as right now, I'm actually looking for an acquisitions manager. So if anyone is interested in something like that, if they're, capable of it, I'm gonna have like a crazy amount of leads coming in where we can't handle them all. I would
You guys looking
love to
for a
give someone an
job?
opportunity.
I
Yeah.
love it. We can talk about that too. I have a lot of advice I can give you about hiring an acquisition manager. Honestly, we could talk about
Awesome.
that one publicly if you want. Let's do that real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Um, so have you ever hired an acquisitions manager before?
No,
Not yet.
I have not.
I
No.
will say this, read this book, Who and a Method for Hiring. It's the
Mm.
best book on hiring I've ever read by far. I still use that book today. Match the personality with the job, even more so than skills with the job. Skills will tell
Mm.
you personality, but matching the personality is key. You need
Mm.
someone who's like a very big closer, right? And then if you have the revenue for it, I prefer paying a base of minimum wage and then a certain commission, not full commission. Full
Mm.
commission can get a little crazy. They don't like staying. You're going to hire an entrepreneur who takes that job, and then they're going to leave you in 6 months, 6 to 8 months. That keeps happening to me. I am now never doing only commission again. We're going to put a minimum wage base and then add on commission on top. Try that out.
Interesting.
My little bit of advice there.
I love that. I love how you just spoke about the commission only, because that's spot on right there. That's literally what happened to me. I'm a truth of that, So
it's what's
I
going to
get it.
happen. If you have cash flow problems, it's good to do so that you can just kill the cash flow problems. But other than that, it's stupid.
Yeah.
That's how I feel
agree.
about it.
Agreed.
Okay. Well, there's your Instagram. Are there any last words you got for the audience before I wrap it up? I know you
That's
kind of just said
about
that
it.
already.
Just keep crushing and stay focused.
I love it. Love it. All right, guys, that's Skorch the Fears. We are back every Thursday, 6 p.m. MST. I love you guys. We are back. We are going every week. I know I've been off. I'm going to be off for Iceland. I'm going with my dad to Iceland in 2 weeks. So I got 2 more episodes, and then I'm going to stop for another 2 weeks. So sorry. Other than that, I'm going to take vacation. But I love you guys. Skorch the Fears. We're out of here. Let's freaking go.